Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something that might seem pretty familiar at first glance, fruit juice. But we're going deep, really deep into the global market as it stands today in 2025 and where it's likely headed. And let me tell you, we've got this super detailed report. And it turns out there's a lot more to uncover in the world of fruit juice than you might expect.
Oh, absolutely. You walk down the grocery aisle and you see all these colorful bottles and cartons, and you might not think twice. But underneath it all, there's this huge, intricate industry in constant motion, constantly changing. And this report does a fantastic job of laying it all out for us. All the trends, the data, the key players, all of it.
Well, let's jump right in. Right off the bat, this report tells us that the global fruit juice market is estimated to reach a whopping, what is it, USD 155.36 billion in 2025? That's a pretty substantial chunk of change.
Yeah, no, it's a big market, definitely. And what's even more interesting is where it's projected to go from here. By 2033, it's expected to hit USD 222.64 billion.
So we're talking about some serious growth here. And what's the driving force behind this upward trend?
Well, the report says the CAGR, that's the compound annual growth rate, from 2025 to 2033 is projected to be 4.60%. So steady, solid growth.
Which makes you wonder, what are the key factors that are fueling this continuous climb?
There are actually several major trends at play. The big one is the rising health consciousness we see happening worldwide. More and more people are looking for drinks they consider natural and healthy, and fruit juice fits right in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's way more aware of what they're putting into their bodies these days. So health is a big driver. What else?
Convenience is another huge factor. People are busier than ever, always on the go, and ready to drink options like fruit juice, well, they just make life easier.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's a lot of innovation going on in the fruit juice world. Think new and interesting flavors, new ways of processing juice to make it even healthier, like cold pressed juices, that kind of thing.
Yeah, cold press. Those have gotten super popular.
Yep.
Exactly. And then there's this trend toward what they call premiumization. Basically, people are willing to pay more for juice that they see as higher quality. Maybe it's organic, maybe it's a special flavor, something like that. And of course, sustainability is playing a role too, how the fruit is grown, what kind of packaging they use, the whole 9 yards.
So it's like the convergence of a bunch of different things, consumer behavior,
Yeah.
what people want, and how the industry is responding. Pretty fascinating, really. So this report, what time frame does it actually cover?
It looks back at historical data from 2021 to 2024, uses 2025 as its baseline, and then projects out all the way to 2033.
Okay, so a good mix of past, present, and future. Now, if someone wanted to dig into all this data themselves, how would they access it? What formats does the report come in?
Well, you get the standard PDF, password protected, of course, but it also comes with an Excel file with all the data, a PPT version if you want to give a presentation, and even cloud access, so lots of options.
Sounds pretty comprehensive. All right, now that we have the big picture, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's start with a regional breakdown. Where is most of this fruit juice being consumed?
Right now, the biggest market is North America. In 2025, their market size is estimated to be USD 62.15 billion, which is more than 40% of the total global market.
Wow, over 40%. They're really dominating the scene.
Yeah.
What's the growth looking like for them?
Well, the projected CAGR for North America from 2025 to 2033 is 2.8%. So it is growing, but a little slower than the global average. Maybe they're just a more mature market already.
Yeah, that makes sense. And within North America, are there any specific countries that stand out?
For sure. The U.S. is by far the biggest player, with a market size of USD 49.03 million in 2025 and a CAGR of 2.6%. Canada comes next at USD 7.46 billion with a CAGR of 3.6%. And then Mexico is also doing pretty well at USD 5.66 billion and a CAGR of 3.3%.
So the U.S. is the big dog, but it seems like Canada and Mexico might have a bit more room to grow percentage-wise. Why do you think North America is such a dominant market right now?
Well, the report points to the fact that there's a really high demand for healthy and organic beverages in North America. People there are really into wellness trends, and they're willing to spend money on drinks they see as healthy.
All right, so North America is the current leader. What about Europe? How does it compare?
Europe is the second largest market globally. In 2025, it's estimated to be worth USD 46.61 billion, which represents over 30% of the global market share. Their CAGR is projected to be 3.1% from 2025 to 2033.
Still a very significant market. And within Europe, are there any particular countries that are worth noting?
Absolutely. The UK is a big player with a market size of USD 7.83 billion and a pretty impressive CAGR of 3.9%. Germany is even bigger at USD 9.23 billion with a CAGR of 3.3%. And then you have France, Italy, Russia, and Spain, which are all substantial markets but with slightly lower growth rates, kind of in the 2.1% to 2.5% range.
So it sounds like the UK and Germany are the ones to watch in Europe, and I'm guessing the reasons behind their growth are pretty similar to what we see in North America.
Spot on. The report highlights increasing health awareness and a demand for natural and organic products as key drivers in Europe as well. It's like this global shift toward healthier living is influencing consumer choices everywhere.
Okay, let's hop over to Asia Pacific now. What's happening in that part of the world?
This is where things get really interesting. Asia Pacific is a massive market with huge growth potential. In 2025, the market size is estimated to be USD 35.73 billion, about 23% of the global market. But the crazy thing is their projected CAGR. From 2025 to 2033, it's a whopping 6.6%.
Whoa, 6.6%. That's way faster than North America and Europe. What does that tell us about the future of the fruit juice market?
It suggests that we're going to see a major shift in global market dynamics in the coming years. Asia Pacific is where the action is going to be. If you were thinking about investing in this market, Asia Pacific would be the place to look.
That's a great point. And are there any particular countries within Asia Pacific that are driving this impressive growth?
Yeah, a few key players. China's the biggest market right now, at USD 15.01 billion with a CAGR of 6.1%. But India is the real standout, growing at an incredible 8.4% with a market size of USD 4.29 billion. Japan and Southeast Asia are also growing rapidly with CAGRs of 5.1% and 7.6% respectively. It's like the whole region is on fire.
8.4% in India. That's incredible. What's driving this boom in Asia Pacific, especially in places like India and Southeast Asia?
Well, it seems to be a combination of factors. Health awareness is rising across the region, which is a global trend, but also disposable incomes are on the rise. So people have more money to spend on things like juice. And there's a growing preference for natural beverages, which again aligns with global trends. Plus, you have the expansion of the retail sector and lots of new innovative products hitting the market. It's a perfect storm for growth.
Makes sense. So we got to keep an eye on Asia Pacific. That's where the big changes are going to happen. Now, what about Latin America? Where do they fit in?
Latin America's got a decent-sized market estimated at USD 7.77 billion in 2025, which is over 5% of the global market share. Their projected CAGR is a solid 4.0% from 2025 to 2033.
Steady growth. Not as explosive as Asia Pacific, but still respectable. Any specific countries within Latin America that we should be paying attention to?
Brazil is the biggest player with a market size of USD 3.32 billion and a CGR of 4.7%. Argentina is also doing well with a CGR of 4.9% and a market size of USD 1.31 billion.
Okay, so Brazil and Argentina are the ones to watch in Latin America. What's fueling their growth?
It's a similar story to what we've seen elsewhere. There's a growing demand for healthier beverages in Latin America, which is in line with global trends. And they've got a strong agricultural sector, so fruit is readily available and potentially cheaper than in other regions.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the Middle East and Africa. What's the outlook there?
The Middle East and Africa currently have the smallest market share, about USD 3.11 billion in 2025, which is roughly 2% of the global total. But they're projected to grow at a decent pace with a CAGR of 4.3% from 2025 to 2033.
So even though they're starting from a smaller base, there's still potential for growth. Are there any specific areas within that region that are showing promise?
Yeah, the GCC countries have a notable CAGR of 5.1% with a market size of USD 1.33 billion. And South Africa is also showing strong growth with a CAGR of 5.3% and a market size of USD 0.49 billion. So there are definitely pockets of opportunity there.
Fascinating. It seems like no matter where you look in the world, there's something happening in the fruit juice market. Okay, so we've gotten a good sense of the regional landscape. Now let's dive into the different types of fruit juice that are out there. What are people actually buying?
Well, there are a few main segments. Right now, carbonated juices are actually the most popular.
Carbonated fruit juice.
Huh.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I guess it's like a healthier alternative to soda.
Yeah, exactly. People are looking for something refreshing and fizzy, but maybe they don't want all the sugar and artificial ingredients in soda. Carbonated juice kind of bridges the gap.
Makes sense. So carbonated is king right now. But are there any other types of juice that are gaining popularity?
Oh, yeah, big time. Naturally sweetened juices are seeing the fastest growth. It goes back to that whole health consciousness thing. People want less processed food and drinks with natural ingredients.
Yeah, that makes sense. So less sugar, more natural, that's the trend. Okay, so what about packaging? What kind of containers are these juices coming in?
Good question. Right now, PET plastic bottles are the most common.
Yeah, those are everywhere. Why are they so dominant?
Well, they're cheap to produce, they're versatile, you can make them in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and they do a good job of protecting the juice inside. But there's a big push towards more sustainable packaging these days, so that's starting to change things up a bit.
So what are we seeing in terms of sustainable options?
Metal cans are actually the fastest growing packaging segment. They're durable, they're convenient, and they're highly recyclable, which is a big plus for eco-conscious consumers.
So it sounds like cans might be the future of juice packaging. What about the juice itself? Concentrated versus non-concentrated. What's the deal there?
Right now, concentrated juice is still the most popular. It's cheaper to ship and store, which makes it attractive to manufacturers and retailers. But non-concentrated juice is growing rapidly.
So again, it's about that preference for less processed, more natural products.
You got it. People see non-concentrated juice as being closer to fresh squeezed juice, which is what they want.
Okay, let's talk flavors. What are the most popular fruit juice flavors out there?
The classic orange is still the top dog. It's familiar, tastes good, and it's associated with vitamin C. You can't go wrong with orange juice.
True, orange juice is a staple. But are there any other flavors that are doing well?
Oh, for sure. Apple juice is gaining popularity really quickly. I think people are looking for something a little different, something refreshing. Mango and mixed fruit flavors are also doing well.
So orange is still the classic, but we're seeing more variety and experimentation with flavors. Finally, let's talk about how people are buying their juice. Where are they getting it from?
Most people still get their juice from supermarkets and hypermarkets. They're convenient, they have a wide selection, it just makes sense.
Right. You're already there doing your grocery shopping. Might as well grab some juice. But what about other options? Are there any other channels that are becoming more popular?
Convenience stores are actually growing rapidly as a channel for juice sales. They're perfect for grabbing a quick drink on the go. And then you have specialty food stores and online retailers, but they're still relatively small players.
So convenience is key. People want their juice, and they want it now. Okay, let's circle back to some of the things we've already touched on. What are the main factors that are driving the growth of the fruit juice market?
Like we said before, the demand for natural and nutritious beverages is huge. That's a global trend that's not going away anytime soon.
Right, health and wellness are top of mind for a lot of people these days. What else is playing a role?
Convenience, for sure. Ready-to-drink beverages are just so easy, especially for busy people. And then there's all the innovation happening in the industry with new flavors, new functional juices, that kind of thing, that keeps things interesting and attracts new customers.
So it's about meeting people's needs and desires, giving them what they want. But what about the challenges? What's holding the industry back?
Well, the sugar content in fruit juice is a big concern for some people, even though it's natural sugar. Some people might choose other drinks because they're worried about their sugar intake.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sugar is a hot topic these days. Anything else?
Yeah, the rising cost of production is another challenge. Everything is getting more expensive, from raw materials to packaging, and that can make juice more expensive for consumers.
So it's a balancing act for the industry. They have to make juice that people want at a price they can afford, while also addressing concerns about things like sugar content. So what are some of the overall trends we're seeing in the market right now?
The big one is the growth of organic and functional juices. People are looking for added health benefits, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, that kind of thing. And like we talked about earlier, innovative packaging is also a big trend.
Right. Packaging that's more convenient, more sustainable, those are important factors. Now, who are the big players in the global fruit juice market?
Well, you've got some huge global corporations like Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, and Tropicana. These guys are everywhere with tons of different products. And then you have a bunch of smaller regional players. It's a pretty diverse landscape.
Those are some big names. What are these companies doing to stay competitive in such a dynamic market?
They're focusing on a few key things. Innovation is huge, coming up with new products, new flavors, new ways to make juice healthier. Sustainability is also important, using eco-friendly packaging, sourcing fruit responsibly, that kind of thing. And they're trying to target specific niche markets, like people who are looking for exotic flavors or juices with specific health benefits.
It's all about understanding your customer and giving them what they want.
Exactly. And then, of course, they're also expanding into new regions, forming partnerships, figuring out the right pricing strategies, and optimizing their distribution networks. It's a constant game of chess.
And speaking of strategic moves, the report mentions a pretty interesting development involving one of the major players.
Yeah, back in 2021, PepsiCo sold its Tropicana brand and some other North American juice brands to a private equity firm called PAI Partners. But they kept a 39% stake in the new company, so it's like they're still involved, but they're also freeing themselves up to focus on other things.
That's a pretty savvy move. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground today. Let's wrap things up with a quick recap of the key takeaways.
So the global fruit juice market is huge, and it's only getting bigger. Health consciousness, convenience, and innovation are driving this growth. But it's important to remember that each region is different, and consumer preferences are constantly evolving. It's a complex and dynamic market full of opportunities and challenges.
It's amazing to think about all the factors that go into something as simple as a glass of juice. After this deep dive, it really makes you wonder, what kind of crazy new juice products are we going to see in the future? And how are different regions going to adapt to changing consumer demands and local conditions?
These are great questions. And, for anyone listening who's intrigued by all of this, I encourage you to explore further. Look into specific regions, look into different types of juice, research the strategies of the major players. There's a whole world of knowledge out there just waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely. And it just goes to show that even something as seemingly ordinary as fruit juice can be a window into the complex and fascinating world of global markets. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been a real eye-opener.
It's been my pleasure. Always happy to explore the hidden depths of everyday products.